morning, folks. Built Money Mini Farm back with y'all again today. Um, I have been asked by several people when they see me out flying birds or talk about birds. They're like, "What? Racing homers? What? How do you do all that?" So I've sat here to try to explain to a million people a million different times what racing homers are, what pigeons, basically, whatever people see or think about the word pigeon. It's all the street pigeons up in New York running around big crowds. People walk through them, they flush off everywhere. That's what they see as pigeons. What they don't understand is there's actually those feral pigeons, and then you have like your purebred pigeons that have been bred down throughout the years. Most of my birds here now have pedigrees. I know that sounds funny too. Whenever you hear the word pedigree on a pigeon, you hear, dogs, horses, this and that. But even goats have pedigrees. I mean, pretty much any animal, if you start it, you can have a pedigree on it. All a pedigree is a lineage back so many generations. And in that pedigree, like especially with pigeons, each bird to put in the pedigree, we can say, hey, this bird won this race, this bird did this bird did that. So when you look back on the pedigree, you can see that the parents, grandparents, great grandparents, whatever else, were this level of bird. So yes, pigeons can have pedigrees. But I've had a lot of people ask me about how to fly pigeons, wanting to get into it or whatever. But they don't know where to start, where to begin, even, how to keep going once they do get into it. So I've decided to make like a little mini series type thing. It's too much to put into one video. So I'm going to try to make several. And just some of the questions I've been asked, or some of the things you need to decide before you get your pigeons, you get your birds, is the main thing you need to decide what kind of birds you want. Then you need to decide, what kind of loft you want, because you got to decide what kind of birds before you decide the loft. Then you got to figure out how to get birds, where to get them from. There again, it depends on what kind you want. Then you need to know how to take care of your birds, which there again, it's according to which kind you have. Each one of them have different needs. Racing homers, Birmingham rollers, show birds, your meat birds, all this. They all have different, needs and everything. So, but then once you get the birds, how do you breed those birds and get the babies and all that? Then if you go to decide that you want to race the birds, show the birds, any kind of competition with the birds, you have to have bands. I don't know of a competition that will let you into it without banding the birds. So there again, you gotta know how to band your babies, when to band the babies, how to keep up with your records. If you want to start pedigrees, if you don't have pedigrees, you can start. It'll take you a few years to get the pedigree up, but at least you'll have something to go look back on later. What everybody thinks about now is just pedigree, but you don't think about eventually back in the day, some period in time, they had to start the pedigree at ground zero. So that's basically what you're doing now is you're starting your pedigrees as of day one here instead of as 10, 12, 20 years ago, whatever else. So then again, if you decide that you want to do the Birmingham rollers, race birds, show birds, whatever, how do you train the birds? Now, showing the birds, I'm not any good at it. I never have been on pigeons. I like to show the bantams. So that's a whole nother ball game. Make videos on that on something else. But I do have buddies that do show. And I've got other buddies that fly with me or whatever, get me back into flying. So I'm going to get with them later on in the videos and try to explain more about how to train the birds. And then everybody asks, well, what exactly is racing? Pigeon racing. Well, that is going to be a long video by itself. I will recommend movies and other stuff to watch. I will explain every little bit that I can. But the racing itself is a long topic. It can take hours to explain. I could give you all the gist of it in just a couple of minutes, but it won't do you any justice because it's not going to explain what you want to know. So anyway, this kind of stuff right here, and even in the comments on this video, if you are interested in it, If there's something I've left out here, I know there's many things I've left out. As I go along, I may throw another video in between these. When I think about things, this is just the main topics. But if there's any questions about other things, if you'll leave it, I'll try to do a video on that specific thing. If I'm not going to cover it in one of these videos, I'll try to make another video of that question for you. So anyway, but today we're going to start off with just the very first one. You've got to decide what birds you want. There again, like I said, there's so many different kind of birds. Let me set this notebook down. There's so many different kind of birds. You have, like what I have here is all my racing homers. You've got hundreds, and I couldn't even tell you exactly how many colors that you actually have when it comes to racing, or just pigeons in general. I mean, I couldn't even start to even name a portion of them. You got blue bars, blue checks, black checks, red bars, red checks. You got solid whites. I've got an opal, a pied blue bar. About 90% of the ones I have here are going to be blue bars. The other colors I had bronze kites. I've got a yellow hen over here. I've got another yellow hen I gave away. I couldn't even tell you everything I had, but those birds I just didn't feel it was going to be up to the level that I wanted to fly at, so I went and bought other birds a little bit better than mine to start off with, and like I said, I ended up getting another deal. I think I told you in the last video, long story on that one. If not, I'll cover it later. But I did find other birds, so right now I've got a couple different bloodlines to work with. But my birds themselves are going to be racing homers. I do know, remind y'all, we do still have Tom Selleck, which is the almond giant runt cross, and his baby. Other than that, everything, other than those two, everything on this farm is going to be racing homers. I don't plan on getting anything else. I'm not going to say I won't, but I want to concentrate on just the racing deal of it. That's what I enjoy. Later, we might get into showing or other competitions and stuff like that. We might get Birmingham rollers. I never know. But right now, we're doing race birds, just racing homers. So that's what I decided on. Now, my loft behind me is the main loft is an 8 by 12. It's 7 foot high, and it's 8 foot by 12 foot. And I've got a little fly cage on the end of it. They can go outside. If it rains, they can get a little bit of, if they want to wash themselves. I still give them baths and all that stuff in the tubs. But when it rains, they love to go out here and just lay out and play in the rain. I've got other birds that I've got to fix up something for them of the same nature. I've got a couple of smaller lofts. I've got two over here that's connected. They are 4 foot wide, 6 foot deep, and 7 foot tall. And the other one the same way. So that whole loft is 8 foot, but it's divided down the middle. So, or 8 by 6 by 7, divided down the middle. So, that was supposed to be used for something else, but when I got different birds, I decided to do something different with it. I keep moving stuff around in here all the time. So anyway, like I said, I've decided on racing homers. But if you want Birmingham rollers, if you don't know what that is, I'll try to find some links to some other videos for y'all. That's actually a pretty neat competition. They're smaller birds. When you let them out, they go up. They'll fly big circles around. They cannot be taken off and fly back because they can't find a way back home. I'm not sure exactly how far they can range out. These homers can go several hundred miles. The Birmingham rollers, I wouldn't take them anywhere. I just turn them loose in the yard, let them go. But they'll make big circles around your place. When they get up so high, they'll start doing rolls, backwards flips. They'll come down so far, and I have seen these birds that are overbred or whatever, just too much, and they roll all the way down, hit the ground. Now, some of them birds have passed, but a lot of those birds, I've seen them just get up, shake it off, and before you can get to them, they've taken off again. And they'll get up, fly around, but then they'll roll all the way back down. So, but that is a little competition. Your main deal on that one is supposed to roll down 25, 30 foot, come out of it while they're still in the air, get the bearings, get back in the group, fly around again, do the same thing, roll, roll, roll. You'll have your other birds competition. I think it's tipplers, the high flyers, all this stuff. That'll get up there and just fly for hours and hours. And they actually try time how long they'll stay up. I'm not sure about the record on that. what I've watched the videos I've seen is 12, 14 hours that they'll stay flying before they come back down. So that's what you want is to keep them all up in the air. So they have all kind of different competition bird stuff. Like I said, rollers, homers, the high flyer deals, all that. But then you have like your shows. You'll have fantails. Uh, oh God, you have like your owls. I mean, there's so many different things. Even your runts. They have show homers. If I hadn't already mentioned that, they do have show homers. Now they're no good to fly off. They're actually a little bit bigger bred, different body style. You can Google those. I don't have any here to show you, but you can Google those and see them. They're actually pretty neat. But you have so many different pigeons that you'll just keep put up. You don't fly those other birds. Some of them you just do not. They're too easy to pick off with predators and all this and all that. So there again, I have the racing homers. You can have whatever you want. Like I said, rollers, high flyers, whatever, show birds. You also have your meat stuff, utility kings. Those are bigger breasted birds that are mainly raised. They're solid white. They're beautiful birds. I've actually had a few of them in the past. I recently had some, but whenever I decided to get back into just racing, I let a buddy of mine get his birds back that I got them from. He wanted them back, so I let him get them. But I love them. They're just bigger birds, bulkier birds. But people will raise those, and then when they get so old, they'll slaughter them off pretty much and sell them to restaurants. And that's where you get your squab. If you actually go to a restaurant, one of the higher deals, and they offer squab on the menu, be aware that squab is pigeon. It's not chicken. It's basically the same thing and about the same size as a Cornish hen, but it is pigeon. It is not chicken. So the meat is a little different. I think it's a little darker, all this good stuff. But anyway, if you want to raise those birds, and you don't have to have any competition birds. You can just raise birds that you have in your backyard. And I will tell you, if you decide to go out here and catch birds from under a bridge or on top of buildings and this, most of those birds are going to be your feral pigeons. They are some of beautiful colors. I've seen just wild birds that are beautiful. The problem is they're not very smart. And if you turn those birds loose, they're not coming back to your house. Those birds are going to be gone. Some of them may hang around a little bit, but it's better if you just want birds just to fly around the house, get with one of your local shows. Try to find a local flyer like myself or someone else. We do have birds that we call out that are just not exactly what we want for racing. I'll put it that way. It's kind of hard to explain. I have got a bird like right here behind me right now. He got hurt whenever I got these birds. I got 20 of them in, and he ended up getting hurt, hit his eye on something. Another bird got him or whatever. Now he's one-eyed. He will be a breeder bird, but stuff like that. I don't plan on getting rid of him specifically, but I'm just saying in general, things like that. Some of the breeders and stuff will get rid of those birds. I can't fly them. If he was one of my flying birds, I wasn't planning on breeding off of him. I'm not going to kill him just because he's got one eye now. So I would actually, somebody wanted him, give him away or sell him or whatever. But like I said, he's one of my breeder birds. He's not going anywhere. But there again, stuff like that you can find and start you a small loft. And I'm going to tell you right now, you don't need 100 birds to get your loft going. 2 birds can breed, just 2 simple birds, 1 pair of birds can breed you several babies in a year. Right now, Allie and Noah, they already had Trapper. He's out flying. They had him, raised him up. One of their eggs wasn't fertile, but they raised him. I have another pair right now. That's a black check and a little red. They're already almost ready to fly. They've already left the nest flying around the loft. I haven't flew them outside yet, but they're already back on another set of eggs. And so, as I said, they're just going. Unless I separate them or throw those eggs away, they're just going to keep breeding. That's one of the original pair that I got. I kept those. Everything else in the loft is all new birds from different breeders. I got Allie and Noah, which is a yellow hen, a red check cockbird, and then I still have a pied blue bar cockbird that I kept, and that was the only 3 that I kept out of my blood. I think everything else have went to other people, friends, and stuff. So anyway, but like I said, it's just one of those things. I decided this is what I wanted to do. But you can get with different people. There are things on, which I'll go over that in another video about where to find birds at. Like I said, once you decide what you want, then you start looking. Make sure that you know what you want before you go out and try to build you a loft. Because like I said, different birds like Birmingham rollers are going to require a different loft than a racing bird. Your show birds will require a different setup than your Birmingham rollers and your homers. Your meat birds are going to require a different setup. So there again, don't get in a hurry because you're going to make it harder on yourself. Take it in steps like I'm going to show you. Decide what you want. Once you decide what you want, then you'll decide what kind of loft you need. Get your loft built. When you get your loft built, then you can start, going out finding birds, filling up your loft. Like I said, you don't have to rush into it and panic and try to buy 100 birds, because I'm telling you right now, those 100 birds will turn into 500 in just a few months. That's not what you want. You just go out here and get you, like I said, 2 or 3 pair, and I'm telling you, in just a few months, you're going to have babies everywhere, and they're going to fill that loft right on up, and you're going to have more than you need, and you're going to, more than you want, and you're going to end up giving those birds away, this. So just take your time. I promise you. Be patient. It'll come to you. On my birds, original birds, I did, when I decided I want them, I ran across this deal all of a sudden. I didn't have this loft built yet. I had the show cages behind you built. They were empty. And all of a sudden, this deal come up. I couldn't turn it down. Like I said, I just wanted something for the yard. It was, I think, 14 birds for $10 a piece pretty much. So I couldn't turn it down. So I jumped on that. I had nowhere to put them. So I had to separate them out, kind of pair them up, put them in the show cages. I had to get this loft here built. It took me like 3 days to build it. It's all inside. But it took me 3 days by myself to get it built, throw it together. Like I said, it's not the best thing in the world, but it holds them. They're happy. They got room, that kind of thing. So I messed up myself, got in a little bit of a hurry. But there again, I already knew what I wanted, and I just happened to come across a deal before I had a chance to get everything else done. So take your time, be patient. I promise you, it'll come together. I don't want to get too far into this other stuff. Like I said, we're going to make other videos on this other. I told you a while ago, I think I've named them off to you. Building your loft, where to get the birds, how to take care of the birds, how to breed the birds, how to band your babies, keep records and all that. That's going to come slowly. Because I think I got an opal right now. She's about ready to hatch. So by the time I get done, I'll be able to band her babies for y'all. Show y'all. It's nothing hard, I promise y'all. The biggest thing is keep an eye on those birds. If the band falls off, just put it back on. Keep an eye for a couple of days. It takes about 3 to 5 days. And once that band stays on, it's on for life. So you're good to go. But like I said, I'll get into all that and other ones. I don't want to bore y'all, so I'm going to get out here and leave y'all alone today. But like I said, just decide what you want. And I'll cover more in the next videos about what kind of loft you'll need and all that. So I'm going to get out here today and leave y'all alone. Good talking to y'all, and see y'all in the next video.